All right. Welcome back to Behind Their Eyes. I am your host, Spencer McPartland, and today I'm joined by Michael Glick, who is the head coach of Meade High School, and he has been the winning coach in Maryland history with over 600 careers. This is not. This is what is not scripted. Is the fact that he had his picture in Sports Illustrated in 2025. So that's a little special thing. And also special shout out to Coach Josh Pratt for setting this up. I know that he put us in touch, but also the fact that he Michael coached Josh Pratt, so this is a little special. And with it being across more than 3 decades, he has done winning programs at multiple different schools and players who have gone on to the best level, including Rudy Gay. But it's not about the wins, it's about what it takes to sustain over success decades. And so, Coach, thank you for joining me.
Oh, no problem at all, Spencer. It's great to be here, so thank you for coming out.
My first question is, take me back to the beginning when you got into coaching in 1993.
Oh, good question, good question. Well, I actually got into coaching back in 1988.
Okay.
So I always knew I wanted to coach. When I was young and I was in high school, I knew I wanted to be a coach. In my high school yearbook, talks about, what do you want to do in like 25 years? And I said, I want to be a basketball coach. So I kind of knew. Loved the game, was an average player, played Division III college basketball. I knew I wasn't going to be a pro or anything like that. So coaching to me was the next best thing closest to playing. So I've just been blessed. I've had an awesome career. So I spent 5 years as a college coach. I've been a high school coach for 33 years. So it's been a blessing.
Now, when did you realize that this is something you were going to commit your life to and not just have it as a job? Like something that you were passionate about doing where it was a matter of giving back to people, like in like a meaningful work, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, good question. I'll be honest with you, my first year coaching, 1988, I started as a assistant coach under the legendary coach Steve Hobson, who I owe a lot of my career to. And I jumped all in as a 22-year-old assistant coach and never looked back. And I knew from the first week I was coaching, I was all in. That I was totally committed, and I was just going to give it my all. So I've had that attitude ever since, and it's just been an incredible journey, to be honest with you. And just having coached players at all different levels and seeing these players become men and fathers and husbands, it's just been remarkable. You mentioned Josh Pratt, who you know very, very well, a legendary coach at Archbishop Spalding, and I had an opportunity to meet Josh when he was 18 and I was 22 or 23, and I had an opportunity to coach him, and now to see him be such a successful coach and a great father to his 2 boys and a great husband to his beautiful wife Jeannie. It's what coaching is all about. He's just one of many, many guys that I've traveled the journey with.
Now, you mentioned your mentor. How did that play into the fact of wanting to be a coach, if you will?
Well, I got my start, with Steve Hobson.
Correct.
And Coach Hobson's just an absolute legend. Was a great player, played in the old Eastern League, and and Steve Hobson was just one of a kind. He is one of a kind. Just one of those people that once you meet him, you'll never forget him. And he enabled me as a 22-year-old assistant to coach. And a lot of times, you're getting coffee and you're doing scouting reports and you're doing a lot of busy work. He let me coach. He let me break down and do drills, and he let me put together scouting reports and talk to the team. And so I owe so much of my career to Steve Hobson, because he enabled me to do a lot of coaching at a very, very young age, and I've never ever forgotten that. And I'm blessed to be able to work under him, and I owe so much of my coaching career to Steve Hobson, to be honest with you.
Now, you've won at multiple games, like I mentioned previously. What's the non-negotiable standard you set everywhere you go?
Oh, well, that's a great question. There's more than one non-negotiable standard, but we're going to back up and this word student athlete. Student athlete. So everybody I've coached, in high school for 33 years, in college for 5 years, you're a student first. So you've got to be a good student. The one thing I've been really proud of here at Meade High School is we have not had one player in our program ineligible since we've gotten out of COVID. Our students know they have to be role models in the building, they have to be model citizens, and they have to be excellent students where they're working hard. So that's always been a non-negotiable for me. You gotta be a student. The other thing is, you gotta keep your nose clean, you gotta stay out of trouble because you are a role model to many of the students that are in the school. So, we expect a certain kind of behavior, from all of our players. Now, as far as if you're talking about playing,
Right.
Spencer, you're talking about on the court, you've got to play with effort, maximum effort. If I have players that don't play with effort, if they play in spurts, it's going to be impossible to play for me. And those players, they don't matriculate from one year to the next. They end up not making the team. One common denominator with the teams that I've been blessed to coach is, our teams play very, very hard. They're very competitive. Most people that come out and watch us play will comment on how hard our team plays. And I've always been, Spencer, a defensive coach. So I tend to let my players go offensively.
Okay.
I don't put that many reins on them, but defensively, we put a lot of structure in, and I base our program on defense. So defense is a non-negotiable. You're going to have to want to play defense. Everybody plays it differently, but you have to do, to the best of your capability, what you're capable of doing defensively.
Now, how do you deal with the scenario, if you will, where one of your, let's call it all-star players, there's something that happens, whether it's they miss a large amount of practices or their performance in school isn't as sufficient, and so it carries over into the game, and you have to decide. But let's say that there is a champion or somebody who's able to step in and take the position. How do you say, this initial player did their job, but they're not up to the performance that they need to be because they, for whatever reason it is, how does this other person come in and fill their shoes, if you will?
Well, it's a question that a lot of coaches, address situations like that differently. I'll be honest with you, when I was a private school coach for 13 years at St. Vincent Pallotti and Archbishop Spalding, we recruited a certain type of player. So we recruited players that were going to be coachable, that were going to be team players, that were going to do the right thing in school. Having, I'm also been an educator for 33 years, so having been in private school and having students, athletes that are in high academic classes and high academic environments, that's not really been a problem. Now, being in public school for the past 20 years, it's pretty simple. If there's a player that's a major problem, we just wean him out of the program. I've been blessed. It's only happened a handful of times in my 20 years as a public school coach, in which there was a player that wasn't bought in, and we had to move on without that player. Now, in terms of players being competitive, the one thing that I've done in my 33 years as a high school head coach is we've always tried to make a very, very competitive environment. If you played for me, Spencer, you would be competing every single day for your position on the team. So nothing's handed to you. I've had players have a tremendous first couple games, score double figures, double figures in rebounds or assists or whatnot, and then they get a big head. And they're like, I've arrived, I've got a lot of attention, and another player plays really hard in the next few practices. I put that first player on the bench,
Right.
and moved on without him until they raised their level to an expectation. So the one thing about being here at Meade is we're very, very competitive. We have players that are on our team that are not in the rotation that could start on a number of teams in this county. To be honest with you, we have tremendous depth. And our players know that. So our players know that, we'll move on without them in a drop of a hat, to be honest with you. So I've been lucky, never really had that situation. Something that's unique that we do, that I created, was something called a circle talk.
Okay.
So at the beginning of every season, after we've completed our scrimmages, we sit the players around a table and we sit them 1 through 15 in order of where they are in the rotation. We go around the room. All the players get to address the positive and negative of each player one at a time. So it's great for that player to hear the positive and negative that their teammates have to say about them. And then the coaches go around and then the coaches will talk about their roles and what they need to get better at. And then what we do at the end of the season before we head into the playoffs. So this year at Meade, after we won the county championship, we met as a team and we reshuffled the seats. And the seats are never the same because players in the rotation, they go in and out, their roles change, and we reestablish roles going into the playoffs. And I've been really, really proud of how our players have been bought into the common theme of trying to win a championship. And we have a very, very selfless team and a selfless program where everybody's about the common goal of trying to win. And it's one reason we've been so successful here at Meade.
Now, when you take over a team, what are the first 2 to 3 things you try to fix immediately?
Excellent question. Well, I've had the experience of doing that a number of times because this is my 4th job that I've been at in high school. Every situation is different. So I think the first thing that you have to do is you have to let everybody in the community know that whatever happened with the previous coaching staff, whatever happened with the previous season means nothing. Everybody starts out with a clean slate. Everybody starts at ground zero, and everybody's got to prove themselves in terms of making the team and then in terms of what their roles will be. So, you know, when I went to Gwynn Park, my first year when I was in Gwynn Park's in southern PG County, we had 77 kids try for the varsity team. That was just unbelievable. So, you know, we had to pick out who we felt were the best 15 players. Some of the players were on the team the previous year and they didn't make the team, you know, when I became the coach for various reasons. And other players weren't in the program and then they made the team. So I think, you know, the number one thing I've tried to do when I started a new job is try to just start off with everybody has a clean slate. Whatever happened with the previous coaching staff doesn't matter whatsoever. I have a saying I've told my teams all my years that none of your names are Glick. You're not my sons, so there is no favoritism. Now, if you know I coach my son, I might show a little favoritism. But my sons, I have 3 sons. They never played for me, and a couple of my sons were baseball players. So none of it's personal. We're just trying to put the best players on the court, the most competitive players on the court, and the players that will help us win.
Now, what actually separates teams that win consistently from teams that don't win consistently?
Talent, Spencer. Talent. Don't ever forget that. People underestimate talent. So the main reason, the primary reason I've been so successful in my career, having, you know, over 600 wins in 33 years, is I've been blessed to coach really, really talented players. I've had so many talented players, not just the players that I've, you know, had the opportunity to play in the NBA, but players have played at all kinds of different levels. Sometimes players don't even play at the next level. It's talent. It's a talent thing. That's where it all starts. Other than talent, you know, I've been personally blessed to be able to coach teams that were very athletic. You know, on our way up to my classroom to do this interview, I showed you the weight room.
Right.
So, you know, our programs have always made a big time commitment to the weight room and a player's body. That's the one thing a lot of people forget when they're younger. At the end of the day, how strong are you? How athletic are you? How quick are you? How quick is your jump? You know, how's your lateral foot speed? There's a lot of attributes there that help with winning basketball in terms of athleticism. So I've been blessed to be able to coach tremendous athletes that are very, very, very talented. And the last piece of the puzzle, I would say, is I've just been blessed with the coaches that I've had that have worked with me. The number of coaches that have assisted me in my 33 years as a coach, I could have never done it alone. I've just been blessed to just have unbelievable coaches. Because you're only as good as your staff.
Right.
As a head coach, you can only do so much. and I've been blessed when I started at Pilati all the way to this year at Meade. Our coaching staff's unbelievable. I put our coaching staff this year at Meade up against any coaching staff in the state of Maryland. Our coaching staff was phenomenal. It's one reason our players have gotten so much better through the course of the season and through the course of their career. I've always been into skill development through the season, been really into shooting. So that's been points of emphasis we've had. You should be a heck of a lot better, in February and March than you were in November. And our teams have gotten better through the course of the season.
Now, my next question is, as you mentioned before, you've been at this for 33 years, and most people burn out, and why don't you feel that you don't need to burn out, if you will?
Oh, that's an awesome question, Spencer, because I love it. I love it. I mean, there's nothing I'd rather do other than play, but
Right.
I'm not going to play. I just turned 60, so those days are over, but I absolutely love it. The camaraderie, the team building, the relationships that you make off the court. I think most people that coach and play organized sports will tell you that's the best thing about it. It keeps me young. I'm a very, very young 60. So, for me, it's just been a passion of mine. I just absolutely love coaching. There's nothing I'd rather do, to be honest with you. So burning out has never, ever been anything in my mind that's ever occurred to me whatsoever.
Now, what's a season or a moment where things weren't working and you had to adjust?
You want the quickest one? The state semifinals this year. We had an unbelievable team, and we played Blake, and a lot of people will say it was the best public school game this season. It was an unbelievable environment at North County, sold out. Blake had a tremendous team, and I'm sure everybody's heard of Baba. Unbelievable player is going to go to Maryland, and our player Keon Scott, who's absolutely phenomenal player, the two-time Anne Arundel County Player of the Year, the two-time public school first-team player. He was first-team All Met Washington Post, first-team All Baltimore Sun. So Keon is he led us in 12 different statistical categories, and he gets injured at the end of the first quarter in our biggest game of the season. He pops his shoulder out, and we have to play 65% of the game without our best player. So that was just on the immediate, to answer your question, just was terrible. But I couldn't have been prouder how our other players responded. They stepped up and played so well in adverse conditions. Keon was unbelievable. Sat in the first seat on the bench, coached his brothers. He calls them his brothers, his teammates, and gave him advice and gave him water, and had a lot of moral support. And, we lost an absolute heartbreaking game by 2 points at the very, very end. And Blake went on to win the state championship, so we were about that close from winning the state championship. So in the short term, that was an example of having to face a lot of adversity. Another thing with adversity, COVID. You mentioned to me walking up the stairs, coming to my classroom, how COVID affected you
Right.
as a high school student. Well, I coached during COVID, and maybe the best team I would have ever had at Meade was my 2021 team.
Okay.
We had 10 seniors in the class of 2021. When I got the job at Meade, we ended up keeping 9 sophomores on the team and a freshman, and those players were all going to be seniors in 2021. And just it's absolutely heartbreaking that those kids never had a chance to play their senior year. So that was adversity. Being away from basketball for about a year and a half, not being able to do anything organized. We weren't like the private schools where we were able to play during COVID. Everything was shut down. And then we have to start back up, basically like in the fall of 2021, coming into the 2022 season, with basically a brand new team. It's almost like it was a brand new program. There's so many players were brand new, and I just, couldn't be prouder of what we've accomplished here at Meade since COVID. It's been absolutely remarkable.
Now, do people misunderstand what it actually takes to sustain winning for that long?
Absolutely. It's a great question. 100% absolutely. People take winning for granted unless people have been in the battle, been in the game, played, coached. Your average outsider just takes for granted that Meade's going to win. We're really good in basketball. Coach Glick's going to win year in and year out. And it's just been something that's just, just a given in their minds. They don't understand what it takes to win. A lot of people have never played the game. The thing that I'm most proud about, honestly, about my career here at Meade High School is the level of consistency we had of excellence. We have won 5 straight region championships in the last 5 years. Absolutely unheard of. I believe the last team to do that was the Bob Wade legendary Dunbar teams back in the early 1980s. We have been to basically 4 Final Fours in the last 5 years.
Pretty good.
Yeah, we have won 3 county championships in the last 4 years. So we've had a remarkable level of consistency. I credit our coaching staff to that. I credit mostly the development of our junior varsity program because that's really the nuts and bolts of the program is on the JV level. And I was blessed to have Dave McNeil be our JV coach for 4 years and 5 years, excuse me, and an absolutely remarkable job of building up our program. Dave's now, along with Tommy Duville, the coaches over at Severn Run, but he and Coach Tommy helped build our JV program, and just about 90% of those players matriculate to the varsity and help the winning ways continue. This year's team, I would say that 90% of our players came through our JV program. Keon Scott did not because he was on varsity for 4 years. We had a couple other kids that did not come through the program, but just about everybody else has. So I think that's a primary reason that we were able to win year in and year out because of our lower program and the development of our players.
Now, what makes a player coachable versus just being talented at what they do?
I'm gonna say that one more time.
What makes a player coachable versus just
Oh,
talented?
wow. That's a tough question. Most players are coachable, but not all. Not all. I think that it's like being on a job.
Right.
You have to be able to come and relate to the player at his terms in a way that he can understand. It's human nature. Everybody reacts differently. If a player ends up not being coachable, the best thing to do is to sit that player on the bench. Bobby Knight, legendary Bobby Knight, had some great quotes on how sitting on the bench makes a player think a different way. So, we really don't have any tolerance for players not being coachable. However, some players are a little bit more coachable than others. And again, that's, what I said in my previous statement about developing these players as ninth graders and them coming through our program, understanding what it's like to be a Meade basketball player. We've always told our players, nothing we ever say is personal. It's just basketball. We're never demeaning any of our players. We're never talking about anything personal about them. It's just basketball, and our job is to make them better. The other thing that I'm a strong advocate of is film. We have a lot of film sessions here, and there's a great saying, the film don't lie. The film don't lie, Spencer, because players can say whatever they want to say, but when it's up there on the screen,
Won't lie.
Exactly, and then we have kind of a program where that player's teammates are really quick to point out their flaws. So it's very, very useful, and it's amazing how players become more coachable when they watch themselves mess up on film.
Now, when you coached Rudy Gay, what did you see early that others might have missed? Now, I want to tie this in with, I'm sure you know who he is, Cam Whitmore with the Wizards.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
How do you relate the two of them, if you will?
Well, I mean, if you're, again, I never coached Cam Whitmore. I had an opportunity to meet Cam a couple times. I know about Cam, through the Spalding coaches. Would jump off the screen would be both of their athleticisms. I mean, Rudy was just an unbelievable athlete. Cam Whitmore is one of the best athletes that's come out of the state of Maryland. So they're just athleticism. They're just freaky athletic. They both play with a tremendous motor. So I would draw those comparisons. But I really can't draw any other comparisons because I didn't have the opportunity to coach Cam Whitmore. But I was blessed to coach Rudy. And, what made Rudy special and the reason he's had just an unbelievable career, and I couldn't be prouder than Rudy, is that he had a burning desire to get better consistently. And a lot of great players, fame, being rated, all the accolades they get go to their heads, and they stop working hard. And Rudy was never like that. Rudy always had a burning desire to get better, to work hard. When we got Rudy, because Rudy transferred to Spalding after his sophomore year at Eastern Tech, Rudy's biggest weakness was his physical weakness. Rudy was a very slender young man, great athlete, but very slender. And his commitment that he made to the weight room, the 2 years that he was in Spalding was unbelievable. He went in there and spent a lot of time on his own by himself without anything being instructed because he knew that he needed to put on weight, that he needed to get stronger, and that was going to get him to the next level. And that's just a trait that made him just one of the best players to ever come out of the DMV, just the burning desire to be the best. And that's something you can't teach. And I was just blessed to be able to help develop him and to watch his career just take off and become just unbelievable. So couldn't be prouder of Rudy Gay.
Now, how are players different today compared to 10 to 15 years ago?
How long is your podcast? I mean, if you got like 2 hours, I can tell you. There's no comparison. In terms of stuff, in terms of social media,
Right.
in terms of distractions, in terms of everything being structured, there's part of coaching that is never going to change. It's always exactly the same. But there's a lot that's totally different. So, if I was to pat myself on the back and say, what's one of the things about me, Mike Glick, Coach Glick, that I'm proud of, I've been able to change over the years. I've been able to totally change who I am, my coaching style, my teaching style, because I've been an educator for 33 years, as you said earlier, over the years. And I've been able to adapt to a changing environment. I'm old, so my first year coaching is 1988. So I'm coaching, there's no shot clock in high school. There's no social media, there's no cell phones, there's no, internet really. It's just a different world. So, for me, I've had to just transform myself as a coach. It's funny when my older players come back and watch me, how they always say, Coach Glick, you're nowhere the same you were back when you coached me. You're not as tough. You don't yell and scream as much. And they're right, because, a lot of kids today, that approach doesn't work. It just doesn't work with them. So, I've been very proud of how I've changed over the years. Not only coaching, but also teaching.
Now, how has being a basketball coach transferred into how you're a teacher? Meaning, because you mentioned that you teach social studies, and how does that being, if you will, strict and disciplined, or being, I don't want to call it abrasive, but like being firm and saying like, look, I'm your teacher. We're gonna make sure that we follow the rules, the same way that you would say it as you are a basketball coach, and making sure that the players are following the rules of the game.
Yeah, Spencer, that's an excellent question. You're spot on. I teach like I coach. I am no different whatsoever. I'm the same exact person. I use the same motivational techniques. I use the same discipline techniques. I think that, having been somebody that's coached and taught in such different environments, very few people in the state have been in the environments that I've been in. I've been in a school like an Archbishop Spalding, an upper class elite academic school where 700 kids apply for 250 spots, had a chance to coach and teach, at St. Vincent Plotty, a smaller Catholic school, and then be a public educator in PG County for 12 years, and now in Anne Arundel County. So I've been all over the place. So I think it's kids want to be treated fair. Kids want to understand that you care about them, and that you have their best interest in mind, and that you want to be fair, and that we cannot do that if we're not in a disciplined environment. So if you were to walk into my classroom and watch me instruct, the one thing you would take note of off the bat, it's a very, very disciplined environment. There's no misbehaving being tolerated whatsoever. It's a very structured environment. But with that, I'm a very structured teacher. In almost all my years in education, I grade all of my students' assignments the next class period. So if you had me today as a teacher, when you come back to me in 2 days, all your work is graded. So I show the students that I'm going to have a level of expectation and organization for myself. And that way they know what the standard is. Because a lot of students want to know how they're doing on a daily basis. So I think that's a really, really important part of education. I've always had this philosophy in education that, Spencer, if you don't want to learn and you don't care about the subject and you don't care about your grade and your test, hey, you have the prerogative to do that. Your last name is not Glick. If it was, we'd have an issue, but it's not. You always have the prerogative to fail. However, Spencer, you never have the right to stop somebody else from learning. And once you stop somebody from learning because of your behavior or you're trying to de-emphasize academics, that's when I got to be Coach Glick. I tell my students all the time, I'm Mr. Glick in the classroom, but if I have to become Coach Glick, you're not going to like Coach Glick. I'm a different person. And our kids, have done a great job of understanding that. And I mean, I couldn't be happier here at Meade High School. Our school is an excellent academic school. We've won so many awards this year for our rising test scores. Dr. Ryan Durr is an unbelievable principal of our school. He was voted the Maryland Principal of the Year.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so like our culture here is so different over the years that I've been here for 8 years. And I've been blessed, to be honest with you, just to teach students that are motivated and students that are disciplined. And I have hardly any problems in my classroom.
Now, you've already built a legacy, as you mentioned before, and what still drives you now?
Winning, Spencer. Winning drives me. That's the number one thing. We do this to win. One of my coaching idols is Dan Harwood, the legendary coach at Magruder High School, who just went to a state finals this year. That's somebody I've always looked up to, that I had a chance to meet when I was a first-year coach at Montgomery College, Germantown. And he was a young head coach at Seneca Valley. And he's said it many times, said it to me many times, winning is why we do this, is what drives us. We're all deep down inside competitors, we're ex-players, and we want to win. So winning drives me. Now, the off-the-court stuff, wanting to be a positive role model, wanting to teach these young adolescents how to become men is a big part of my mission. Helping players through being an adolescent and being a teenager. It's a very tough part of all of our lives. We've all been there. And then seeing these kids, these student athletes come out on the other side and become successful grown-ups. Oh, it's the most rewarding thing ever, to be honest with you. That's something else that drives me, to be honest with you.
Now, have there been any, if we want to call it, situations where you taught the student initially and it wasn't a positive start, but then to see, let's say if they're an adult, a positive outcome that was there?
Absolutely. I mean, you're not ever going to be 100% successful. I've had players that bad things have happened to. I've had players get locked up and arrested. I've had players fail off the team. I've had players unfortunately die when I was coaching them. I've just had some tragic things have happened. But some of these players, they handle the adversity in a very positive way, and it makes them into the man that they are today. And a lot of those players have come back and told me that some of the negative experiences who made them the men that they are today, and that's a very rewarding thing. Not every situation can go 100% as planned, but like I said earlier, as being a teacher, same thing as coaching. The key is that your players know that you care about them, that you truly love them and you care about them, and you have their best interest in mind. I think that is like a hallmark that all coaches, whatever sport you are, whatever gender you are, they have to have. The players will know and they can sense it if you don't care about them as people.
So kind of, if you want to call it being true versus just being fake, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. So, players aren't stupid. They understand who a coach is and what a coach is about.
Now, what are you focused on right now at Mead to get to the next level?
Well, to get to the next level for us, a state championship, it's unbelievable. We go 25-2, and we win the county championship this year, and we win we got another Final Four, and win another region championship, and everybody views it as it wasn't a successful season because we didn't win a state championship. So it's very, very tough. I feel like we're the Buffalo Bills of high school basketball here in Maryland. So a state championship, trying to put ourselves back in position, where we can have another run at another state championship. That's a big motivation for me and for us as a program.
Now, my next question takes a little bit of a detour. If you only had $1, what would you spend it on and why?
$1? I'm not going to be able to buy anything for $1, Spencer, in this day and age. I mean, maybe I can get like a tenth of a tank of gas in my car for $1. But if I had $1, I don't know what I'd spend it on because, it's not really going to get me far. But my children. I mean, if you talked about money, what would I spend money on? My 3 children. There's nothing more important in my life than my 3 sons, and I would give anything in life for my sons. So, if they needed any kind of financial support, I'd give that to them in a second. So that's what I would spend my money on, and my family, my sons.
Now, if you could ask the next guest one question, not knowing who it is, what would that question be?
That's a good question. What could I ask one of your next guests, not knowing who they are? I would ask them, are we talking about coaching?
Either coaching or just as a whole.
Just as a whole. I would say, what motivates you? What's your passion? What drives you? What do you think about when you get up every morning? What's on the top of your priority list as you start your day every day? What's the driving force behind who you are? And then the other thing I would ask them is, what do you do to make the world a better place? A lot of times, especially this day and age, a lot of selfishness, a lot of people are self-centered, not thinking about, the world as a whole, our country as a whole. So, what are you doing to make the world a better place for society now and also for future generations? I would ask them that.
Now, do you see it? Do you see yourself as kind of giving back, if you will, from obviously the people that help you, but now flipping it on the opposite side, helping people who are younger?
Yeah, that's
to become that next person who's helping the people who are gonna eventually do what you do and help younger people, if you will.
Yeah. You nailed it, Spencer. I mean, for me, I would not be where I am today without basketball. It was my motivation for me to graduate from high school. It was my motivation that kept me off the streets, that kept my nose clean, kept me away from serious drugs and alcohol. Some of my most influential role models in my life were my coaches. On the basketball court and the baseball field, I also was blessed to play 4 years of college basketball and 2 years of college baseball at St. Mary's. And my coaches along the way have had such an instrumental impact on my life for me to become the person I am today. So being able to turn that around and be able to give back to not only my players, but also to my students and the community of the schools that I've been in, it's been absolutely touching. It's awe-inspiring. It's one of the most beneficial things that have ever happened in my life, just to be able to give back. It's a tremendous feeling of joy.
Now, who are 2 to 3 people that you know that would make strong future guests for the podcast?
Oh my God, there's a lot. We could start writing this on my basketball program if you wanted to, If you're looking for coaches, any one of my coaches would be unbelievable guests. I've got tremendous coaches that would do a great job on your podcast. Rick Smith.
Okay.
It's touching to me because Rick is one of the best players that I've ever coached at any level. Rick was in my first recruiting class at Archbishop Spalding way back. St. Vincent Plotty, excuse me, way back in 1995, back when Coach Glick was a nobody, starting at a little school in Plotty that was just coming into the WCAC. And Rick took a chance and he came to our school and he ended up having an unbelievable career. At Plotty, he was a 4-year starter at Marist, and it's just a tremendous father and role model. And he came back last year as a member of my coaching staff and coached our junior varsity team this past year. So for me to have one of my former players come back and coach with me, can't even begin to tell you, how good that makes me feel. He would be an unbelievable guest. You're talking about Archbishop Spalding.
Right.
Garrett Snoops is one of my top assistants. Garrett was an unbelievable player at Spalding, an unbelievable college player, still plays now. Garrett coached at Spalding. Garrett actually came to my camp at Spalding from I think 7 to 14. He would be an unbelievable guest, just as somebody that's in their mid-30s that have been in various programs as an assistant coach, who will be a great head coach very, very soon in the near future. He would be a great guest. Chris McGrew, Coach McGrew, unbelievable player, 6'9". He's our big man coach. One reason our big man have just made tremendous strides in our program. Chris was a 1,000-point scorer at Salisbury. Was a great player at Paint Branch. Played overseas for a number of years. Is now a teacher of physical education over at MacArthur, which is our feeder school. Was actually the girls' coach at MacArthur this year. He would be an unbelievable guest. Getting the perspective of basketball through a big man's perspective. Not a lot of people, are 6'9" and are used to playing inside. So he's been a tremendous addition to our staff. And last but not least would be Eddie O'Brien. Eddie's our youngest coach on our staff, and he's an unbelievable up-and-coming coach. He's only 24, probably a little bit older than you, and he's in his second year helping us. I've known Eddie since he was 6 years old. He came to my camps for over 10 years. My youngest son, Michael, Eddie's one of Michael's best friends growing up, so I knew Eddie way back when he was a little tight, and he's now just a tremendous, tremendous assistant. He's coaching, assistant coaching the team takeover, the EBYL circuit. He's 16 and 17 and under age group. He's coached some of the top players in the country. Has got aspirations to be a college coach. It wouldn't surprise me, he's a college coach very, very shortly. But those would be great players, or great coaches to go into your podcast. Players inside our program, Keon Scott would be a great guest for you. A player that's one of the best players to ever play public school basketball in Anne Arundel County. He's next season, if he's injury-free, should be the all-time leading scorer. At Meade High School, he will definitely be a Division I player. Somebody that you watch on TV in the next few years. He would be a great guest for you. So a number of people inside our Meade community would be great guests. If you were looking for a former Meade player to be a great guest, Sean Jones. Sean's one of the best players I've coached at Meade. Sean was a all-league player this year at Rhodes College in Tennessee. Sean won a conference championship as a starter. He went to the NCAA Division III National Tournament this year. And he's going to be going into his senior year next year. He would be an alumni that's 21 years old and just a high-level college players that would be great to go on your podcast. So those would be some people just inside our Meade community that I think would be great.
Okay. Now, do you have any questions for me before I wrap this up?
Yeah, absolutely. I got some great questions for you. So how are you as a player, Spencer?
It's been a while since I played basketball. Probably middle school.
Okay.
So 6 6th or 7th grade basketball.
Okay.
Like very, very small.
Okay.
I remember playing it over at, where did I play? I played over at Edgewater High School.
Okay, yep.
I didn't go to the high school, but I played there for a club sport. And then
Okay.
I went over to the not Annapolis, not ACC, but
Okay.
whatever the basketball court that was there. I remember playing on that.
Nice. I got a couple more questions. Okay, so a question to make you laugh. Could you beat Josh Pratt one-on-one?
Probably.
Oh! I don't know, man.
I think it's been a while, but I don't say never. I think I could, but I don't know if I want to. I don't know what capabilities he has of beating me.
Okay, he's got size. He might back you down, man. Body you up a little bit. Coach Pratt's got a little bit of girth to him, and he can give you a little bit of a body. All right, I'm going to ask you a hard question and get you to think.
Okay.
This will be good. We reverse roles. What's your biggest strength and weakness as a podcast host?
Biggest strength, I would say, is doing the research and it's coming up with questions on the fly. I would say the biggest weakness. Now, are we talking about the interviewing, or are we talking about just as a whole?
As a whole.
I would say the biggest weakness is onboarding, which means you bring on people to do separate jobs, because a lot of it currently is me doing, I would say, about 3 to 4 people's different roles, whether that is the initial coming up with the person's name and saying, oh, I want to go interview Jerry Jones, or if it's Michael Jordan, or whoever comes into my head in the conscious in the moment, and then is saying, let's find their contact information, let's draft them a note through ChatGPT so that it's effective and so that we're not wasting all the time, and then it's the consistency of following up so that you don't look as though you're the person that just sends one note and then you go, oh, I forgot to follow up. Like that consistency in following up, and then actually going from your initial outreach, and whether that is securing it and then setting up a location or a Zoom link and then actually conducting it and preparing. And then the after that, I would say the other part is the editor part, where you take it, and whether it's video or audio, is taking it and looking at the flow of it and putting an intro, putting an outro, and looking at the body of it and saying, this wording is good, this wording is okay, what is good content, what isn't, and then publishing it. And what I do is I time it. So it used to be Mondays and Wednesdays. Before I did it through Apple and Amazon, was the fact that I would just put it on Spotify, and I did it at 5 o'clock on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then I asked Google or ChatGPT or an AI bot or whatever, and I said, and I was also timing this with LinkedIn, because I probably in November I came up with writing reviews about the interviews, which is my takeaways about it, how I think it did, and Google said, well, it's between like 10 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and so what I do is I try to time when the episode comes out to when it gets published on LinkedIn, and then if it's through Zoom or if there's a video, then I'll time it's all a timing game, so that if you're the audience, you understand, okay, this is the episode, this is the review, and this is the video, so it all drops at once. And then my biggest weakness has been the video or the visual aspect of it. I'm very good with the audio, but I would say it's the visual, because people now, whether you look at James Dillon from the School of Hard Knocks, who interviews Tom Cruise and Shaq and Tom Brady, is, you see the video for 1.5 seconds, and you say, wow, okay, now I know that, and I click on it, and the consistency and the volume. And so part of my problem is that when obviously building a team, that you have to have somebody who understands what they're doing, taking your content and accelerating it and getting all the people in volume to say, look, this is something that I want to listen to, or something that I want to watch.
Love it.
As a content.
Love it. I'm going to ask you one more question. How old are you again?
20.
All right, so you're 20. You're halfway to 40, brother. So My question to you, I'm going to ask the same question I ask to my students and my players all the time. Where do you want to be when you're 40?
Whoa, when I want to be 40.
Where do you want to be in life?
No, is this real talk or is this just fantasy talk?
Well, no, it's got to be real talk because fantasy talk may never come true. I mean, you can turn real talk, or you can turn fantasy talk into real talk. So, where do you want to be when you're 40?
I would say
Everything's realistic. You
yeah.
can do anything you want to do, Spencer.
I would say I want to be retired. I want to do what I want to do, which is not getting stuck in a job.
Okay.
I would say it's traveling a lot and going to whether it's Monaco or Switzerland or Denmark or Sweden. Like
Okay.
just getting involved. I would say obviously that's important, but like going and seeing different things and just doing what you want to do. Because I watched Dana White. I don't know if you know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
The CEO of the UFC, and he says
Yep.
that there's certain things that people do where you have to have like this urgency or this hunger to like get out of bed every day, and
Yep.
like what motivates you to jump out of bed and be like, yeah, now I wanna go chase my dreams or
Yep.
something. Like having this. I don't know if it's a call or whatever, but like getting up and being excited that you wake up versus the person who gets out of bed in the mornings and they're like, oh, I gotta go to my job, or I gotta get my kids out the door. Like it's just this like excitement, and then monetary. I mean, yeah, it'd be nice to have like $1 million. Like, that's, you know, don't say never, but and then like whether it's lifestyle. I don't really consider my lifestyle to be changing that much. I mean,
Okay.
I want to be modest, but I don't want to be flashy, like where I'm wearing Louis Vuitton or something.
Right.
Like, wow, you spend $1,200 on your appearance. Like I will say it's nice to have nice clothes, whether it's a Ralph Lauren shirt and like khaki
Mm-hmm.
pants. But my thing is like being modest, but not being flashy. Like you want to look nice, but you don't want to be the person that's a sore, and that people look at you and they go, you spent all that money and you kind of look like a bum, or you look like somebody who, just wasted their money, wasn't smart about it, just buying it to have it, like versus not needing it. And then I'll give you a little tidbit. You know who Robert Crook is?
No, school me. Who's
He's
Robert
the
Crook?
founder of Silly Bands, and he was talking about
Okay.
how every dollar you lose in your 20s, so let's say you decide that, let's say you're really into coffee,
Mhm.
and you go to Starbucks and you're really dedicated to coffee,
Mhm.
and you spend $10 a week or whatever it is on coffee.
Mhm.
And so his point is that every amount of money that you spend on crap that you don't need
Mhm.
is money that you could be putting to work, whether it's in stocks
Mhm.
or bonds. And then
Yep.
which is it's an interesting tangent from Kevin earlier. He pretty much says don't buy stuff, because he says it in a visual way where he's like, look, you need to not, you go into your closet and you have 40 shirts, you're gonna look at that and say, well, I bought that at a dumb point in my life where I don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to think about it from an investor
Mm-hmm.
perspective of where's my money going, and
That's-
is my money working for me, or is it just sitting in a bank account giving me 2% in the bank
Yep.
versus
Yep.
like 20%?
Very, very pertinent. It's very pertinent. I'll give you a saying, Spencer, that my father gave me when I was younger than you. You don't ever forget, you're talking about clothes, okay?
Okay.
Okay? The clothes don't make the man makes the clothes.
That makes sense.
Very, very, very pertinent. And I would say one other thing. You said you want to be retired at 40. Retired at 40. You better play the lottery, brother, man. It's hard to be retired at 40, man. Heck, I'm 60 and I'm not retired.
Do you have anything else before I wrap this up?
No, just that I really, really appreciate you coming out. It's great having the chance to meet you and chat with you, and hopefully, people like the podcast, and anything I can do for you in the future, please let me know. When Josh Pratt reached out to me and said one of my former students really wants you to go on this podcast, I was honored, and I'd do anything in the world for my man Josh Pratt, Big Red. So it was great meeting you.
You as well. Coach Glick, I appreciate you taking the time and sharing the perspective behind a career like this. This has been episode number 34 of Behind the Rise. If you found value in this conversation, make sure to follow, subscribe, and leave a review, and we will see you next time. All right, take care.